This is me and my baby girl. And see how fair she is. She's a twacham.
I'm driving. I think you did. This junction is terrible.
Yeah. This story is shaking up the internet. How a 48-year-old woman met a young man on Facebook, fell in love with him, and started having a relationship with him, only to have her life taken in the most brutal manner by this same man 2 years later, in what can only be described as a Facebook love tragedy. But the question on everyone's lips is, was this a case of love turned sour, or was this the plan of this young man all along from the very moment he met her on Facebook 2 years ago in 2020? Now, Ms.Ijeoma Phyllis was said to have met her young lover, 31-year-old Tochukwu Ede, on a Facebook group in 2020 during the COVID-19 lockdown period. It's not clear how their conversation went, but eventually they would meet in person, go on several dates, and start a relationship. Ijeoma was clearly well-to-do. She had her apartment, she had her money, she had her finances. But it wasn't clear what Tochukwu was into. According to some sources, it was after he met her that he got enrolled in a handy course which she financed herself. Probably a course that was supposed to help him get jobs, clearly. Ijeoma had an upscale apartment in Lube in FCT Abuja there, and it was said that Tochukwu eventually came to live with her from time to time, even though he had his place or he squatted or shared places with his friends in Abuja there. But it's a good thing that his lover, Ijeoma Phyllis, had her own apartment, had her own place, which he frequented from time to time. And I guess that could have been one of the many things that may have attracted him to her. Girl, and see how fair she is. She's a twacham. The fact that she had money. This will be evident in the gifts and presents and lifestyle that Ijeoma began affording for this young lover. It was said she bought him a car, she enrolled him in a course for school to get better jobs, she pretty much pimped up his life, gave him monetary gifts and other presents that every sugar boy would dream of. But the thing is, to Ijeoma, she has found a lover, a man, but to Tochukwu, he had found a sugar mommy. And this will be clear through his pattern of choices of women, because according to multiple sources, Ijeoma was not his first older woman, and even after she died, she was not his last older woman, which clearly indicates that this young man had a type or had a pattern, rich older women. But what is not clear is if he kills them all, because from what we know, this might just be his first case of murder. But how did this supposed Facebook love story turn into a Facebook love tragedy? So Ijeoma and Tochukwu's love continued. They spent time together, they made videos. He made it very clear that she was his love, and clearly Ijeoma fell for these things because they seemed or they felt genuine at the time, which prompted her to do all the good things that she did for him, to keep him happy, to keep him financially buoyant, to just make sure that she is doing everything to secure a man per se. And for 2 years, right from the year 2020, they began to date. But it was in 2022 that it seemed like the love began to die down and turn sour. Now, according to Tochukwu's confession, Ijeoma was the one who became abusive towards him. She wouldn't let him take calls in private. She is always into his business. She's always suspecting him of cheating. She was aggressive, controlling, manipulative, and possessive. This is according to Tochukwu's confession.
Whenever anyone calls me on the phone, she's always angry. I couldn't express myself. I can't stay on the phone more than 5 minutes and she's around. She pick offense, she insults me. And during all this period, I believe, neighbors around, because sometimes they do come out.
And on the day she died, or should I say on the day he killed her, he claimed that she had found out that he had sold the vehicle that she bought for him and began throwing tantrums, attacking him with various weapons, throwing objects at him at her own place there in Lube FCT, Abuja. She had invited him over to her apartment where they started having these arguments that turned left really quick. According to him, when she began to throw these objects at him, he was defending himself, trying to block them, dodge them, until she went into the kitchen and brought out a pistol in which she attempted to use to attack him. And he claimed that when she came with the pistol, he struggled it out of her hand and got wind of it and used it to hit her as a defense mechanism, or in a case of state of defense. He hit her with a pistol and she fell, and it's not very clear if that was the only time he hit her, but it seemed as though that he may have hit her again on his way up, or on his way trying to leave, or maybe on his way trying to steal. So he hit her again a second time during the argument, because apparently the first time wasn't what ended her life. They continued struggling and they continued fighting, and in a second attempt, according to him, he involuntarily hit her with a mortar pistol in her face, which caused her to fall and caused her to cry and caused her to weep and cursing at him. But I don't know how you can involuntarily hit someone with a mortar pistol. I don't know how that is possible.
Her with it, she fell down. Now, when she was coming up, involuntarily I hit her with the pistol, and that was when she fell down. She started crying and saying,
seemed like something that he meant to do. But I can understand he might have been filled with rage or anger at the same time. But the thing is, the loophole is a bit glaring, because according to Tochukwu, he never meant to kill her. He never meant to hurt her. He was only defending himself, and he was only fighting back because she, according to him still, was the aggressor. Even in his claims after the entire fight and he ran away to Port Harcourt with her vehicle and her mobile phones and other properties, he still did not know that she was dead. He claimed 2 days later, after he left the house with her vehicle, his friend was the one who offered to sell the vehicle, and after the friend sold the vehicle, he got his share. And at the same time, he felt throughout this whole period of him leaving her house, stealing her vehicle, running away, she was still alive. This is his claims. He claimed that he did not know that she was dead, but it's hard to believe. There is a lot of problem with his story that seems to have a lot of loopholes. And in short, there is another version to his confession as published by The Sun Nigeria that is a little more revealing than the one he made on Channels Television, because it seemed like there is a high possibility that he meant to kill her, contrary to what he claims, that it was not deliberate and it was a case of self-defense. But before we continue, please take a moment to like this video and click the subscribe button to show us your support. It's nothing to you, but it's a huge deal to us here. Subscribe and turn on notification for future videos. So, we have talked a lot on this channel about lovers killing lovers, and many a times we see these culprits claim that it was an act of self-defense, it was an accident, that they did not mean to kill their loved one or a particular person. But the only thing that makes these claims of accident or innocence a little more complicated is the aftermath of the incident itself. If you claim that you did not mean to kill someone, and what you did after you had killed that person is to commit more crimes, it only contradicts your initial claim of innocence or initial claim of accident. Because Tochukwu claiming that it was not deliberate and that he was only defending himself is one thing, but what he did after he hit this woman with this pistol shows that he had an ulterior motive, shows that he had things in mind that he wanted to do. Because after he had hit her with this pistol, according to him, she was crying, she's asking him why he did it. He went on to steal her mobile phones. He went on to steal her vehicle and steal other properties from her house, including the television and some petty furniture in the property. So you did not mean to kill her, yet you had time to ransack this woman's house after you had knocked her out with a pistol. And yet you want to tell the whole world that it was not deliberate. You want to tell the whole world that you were defending yourself from her attacks because she found out you sold the vehicle she gifted to you. How do we believe you now when after what you did was to commit a crime of theft, a crime of stealing? This only shows that there is a possibility, there is a high chance that you meant to steal these things because clearly you're very materialistic. And the only way that you could do it was to get rid of her. So how do we believe that this was a case of you defending yourself? Now, the other version of his confession that we got from the Sun Nigeria is the claim of marriage. There is a possibility or there is a chance that he may have given a different confession to a different news outlet, saying that Ijeoma was pressuring him to marry her and that he did not want to get married to her because she was too old for him, quote unquote. The claim went on to say that the talk and discussion of marriage was what started their issues in their relationship, was what was the underlying cause in their feud, in what they had together. Remember, like I said, Ijeoma Phyllis may have seen Tochukwu as a potential partner while he only saw her as a money grab, a sugar mommy. And I guess that would make sense because she kept investing in him, even in his financial life, in his, business life, with the hopes that he could be the man that she wanted. But he never saw her as that. And I think, or according to the article still, that was the underlying cause in the issues that they have in their relationship. The article claimed that Phyllis kept pressuring Tochukwu to marry her and get married to her so that they can start living as a couple, which was what led to her probably being very intrusive into his own personal lives, who he was talking to and what he was doing with the money and their property and all of these bits. And when Ijeoma Phyllis realizes that Tochukwu was not going to make her a wife or his wife, she started demanding all the gifts that she had gifted him in the past. Now, this is another version of the entire confession as a whole. Ijeoma was asking him to bring back all the gifts, and I guess that was the point. Tochukwu realizes that he's going to lose everything. His sugar mama has found out that, she's only a sugar mommy for the sugar and now wants all the investment back, including the cars, the expensive wristwatches, the gifts, and maybe the key to her apartment and all of those things that she had gifted him in hopes that she could keep him. And when she found out that he had sold the vehicle, she flared up. And clearly maybe he sold the vehicle deliberately just because she knows, or just because he knows if he keeps driving the car, she would take the car keys and he would have nothing. After all, he had made it clear that he can't marry her, and she had made it clear that if he can't marry her, he would have to bring everything back to her. So, if this other confession is true, it clearly puts this boy at risk, and it clearly shows that he had a motive to kill her deliberately. So this is most likely a first-degree murder case and not just a manslaughter or a second-degree one. This is something that there's a chance that he went to a house that day with the sole aim of killing her to take more properties. That is going to be a high possibility, and that is probably something that they could argue in court. And I feel that that is also the case because he doesn't look trustworthy to me. Now, judging by what a lot of people had said on the internet, people who had heard the story, people making posts about it, a lot of women had come out to say that this boy used to be in their DMs, a lot of older women around the same age as Ijeoma and Phyllis, that this young man, Tochukwu Ede, was in their DMs, chatting them up. And, probably he goes through their profile and see these women doing well themselves and looking single and looking well-to-do and wants to get a relationship with them. So clearly, Ijeoma was not the only person that he may have approached around that same period in 2020. This was during the lockdown. Everybody was broke. Everybody was down to their last kobo. Nobody was working. So you can tell that this was a good time for him to be on the come up. And unfortunately, Ijeoma was just someone who fell for his charms or whatever she thought was his charm. And, he got the best of her. Another thing again that shows that this is a pattern for Tochukwu Ede is that after he had killed Ijeoma Phyllis in Abuja, took her car, gave it to a friend to sell it, he ran to Port Harcourt to squat with a woman who already had 2 kids. He came to Port Harcourt to meet a new lover, an older woman who already had children. So while he was in Port Harcourt at the time when he was caught and arrested, he was with another older woman who he may have also promised all the life in the world, and who he most likely was about to play the same old tricks with, because why not? This shows that this is a pattern for him. Maybe he deceives these women, take their property, and if they try to confront him, he ends them. Frankly speaking, if you ask me, there is a possibility that this might not be his first murder case. They just have to investigate and check out a lot of older women like Ijeoma Phyllis who may have died mysteriously. As surprising as it may sound, there is a lot of cases like that, and if looked very well, it could be linked to him, because this man seemed to have a pattern. He seems to have a pattern with these older women. He goes to deceive, make them fall in love with him, and rid them of their valuables, money, and properties. So I guess it's safe to say this woman in Port Harcourt is lucky. Like, I can't imagine how shocked she must be finding out that her young lover had just killed an older woman in Abuja and ran away with all her properties. She must be giving the testimony of her lifetime now in church, because she dodged the bullet. So it was said after Ijeoma was killed and left there, it was the caretaker of the house that called her sister to tell the sister that they had not seen Ijeoma for weeks, and they are worried that she might be sick in the house, or she might be ill, or she might be locked indoors because the door was locked from the outside. Another evidence that this boy knew what he was doing. And so it was a sister that eventually called the police and everyone. They went to her house, they broke into the house and saw that she had been dead for days before they evacuated her body, took her for autopsy, and realized that she had been murdered with a blunt instrument or a blunt weapon. And they found out that the last person that had come to visit her was the boyfriend, Tochukwu Ede, and that was how they were able to trace him and find him. I mean, it was obvious. He is all over her Facebook, so I don't know if he thought they were not going to catch him, but that's stupid of him, because they quickly caught him. Maybe not quickly, but he was eventually caught and paraded and confessed to killing her. I guess maybe the easiness in which he was caught could kind of help him out in this case, and maybe prove that maybe he didn't mean to kill her, or he did something stupid and acted irrationally. Because if it was someone who meant to kill her, the person would have most likely gone an extra mile to not be caught, like taking her Facebook, deleting it, clearing off their picture, just clearing every evidence linking him to her. But there was just a lot of proof. There was just a lot of things. Maybe he thought the Nigerian police would fail this time around. But the thing with the Nigerian police is, when they want to work, they work. When they want to get something done, they do it. Half the time they fall short and disappoint us. But a lot of us have said this. If the Nigerian police meant to catch a criminal, they will do it. And that is true. They will do it. It's just that half the time they are either underfunded or not interested, or the family or the loved ones of these victims don't continue putting pressure on them to find the answers or find the culprits. But it's impressive what they did with this case, and it's nice to know that Tochukwu will face the law, and hopefully he gets the maximum sentence for his crimes, because this is tragic indeed. But the debate now a lot of people are talking about is whether or not that he most likely had this in mind from the get-go, or if he meant to kill her. Many people are saying there's a chance he just acted in the moment due to his greed and materialisticness and, all of that bit. But there are people who believe that he meant to kill her, and there's a chance that he went to her house that day to end her life and take all her properties, saying that she was already cutting ties with him, knowing that he was not going to marry her the way she wanted. But you guys, let me know what you think in the comment below. Let me know your thoughts regarding the story. Let me know how you feel. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share with your friends, click the subscribe button, and turn on notifications should there be any future story. You'll be the first to get notified. Thank you guys for watching, And also don't forget to follow us on our Facebook page and our Facebook backup page, True Crime Daniel 2, for longer videos and more documentary stories. Thank you guys for your support, and you can check out our channel for more videos like this.